A Canadian has died in U.S. ICE custody, and we still don't know how or why. As a Canadian, this hits differently. There are no official answers, and yet again, ICE is at the center of it. That alone raises serious red flags. With ICE's reputation for abuse, neglect, and human rights violations, it's not enough to shrug this off as a routine investigation. A Canadian died under U.S. government control. That demands accountability and transparency. In today's video, we're going to break down what little we know, what's being left out, and why this story should concern every Canadian watching. Let's get into it.
Canadian consular officials in the United States are urgently seeking more information about the death of a Canadian citizen who died in the custody of Immigration and Customs Enforcement in Florida. The agency says Johnny Noviello was found unresponsive in Miami on June 23rd while he was in ICE custody and pronounced dead at the scene. The cause of death is still under investigation. And CTV's Kamal Karamali joins me now to talk more about this. He's been covering this story. And Kamal, what do we know about his death and reaction to it?
Good morning, Roger. Yeah, ICE releasing a statement providing a little bit of detail as to what transpired in terms of their version of events. As you mentioned, we know that according to ICE, this death took place on June 23rd, just earlier this week before 1 p.m. You can see here their statement saying Johnny Noviello, a 49-year-old citizen of Canada, he was in the custody of U.S. Immigration and Customs Enforcement and was found unresponsive and pronounced deceased by the Miami Fire and Rescue Department on June 23rd at 1:36 p.m. The cause of death is still under investigation.
The first thing that comes to mind is, why did it take so long to publicly announce the death of Johnny Noviello? Maybe that's standard protocol. I'm not an expert in this area, but it feels like a long delay. And the second thing that stands out, it's been 5 days and the cause of death is still under investigation. That also feels like a long time. Do they need more time to get their story straight? I know I shouldn't assume or jump to conclusions without facts, but hey, these days, you never know when it comes to ICE. And I know we're all thinking it.
What they've said is Noviello entered the United States on January 2nd, 1988, so just about or more than 3 decades ago. In a legal visa status, he became a lawful permanent resident in October of 1991. And then just recently, a couple of years ago, on October 12, 2023, he was convicted in a nearby county, Volusia County, for racketeering, trafficking in oxycodone and trafficking in illegal drugs as well, and sentenced to 12 months in prison. Then just this past month, about a month and a half ago, on May 15th of this year, he was arrested by ICE at the Florida Department of Corrections Probation Office, and that is when this incident took place. He was found unresponsive once again earlier this week, and according to the release by ICE, medical staff at the Bureau of Prisons Detention Center, they performed CPR according to ICE and administered a defibrillator. They also called 911, and then he was pronounced dead 40 minutes later after this initial incident took place where he was found unresponsive.
So Johnny came in on a legal visa and then got into trouble with the law. According to another news source, he was already in the process of being deported because of his criminal convictions. That should have been a standard process. But now it seems the new standard is ICE picking you up straight out of a probation office. From what I've seen, Johnny was in ICE custody for over a month. And the biggest question on everyone's mind is simple. How or why did he become unresponsive? Was it a heart attack? Was it mistreatment? Is there security footage of what happened? There are a lot of questions, and the real concern is, are we ever going to get a straight answer?
Now, we know that according to Foreign Affairs Minister Anita Anand, the Canadian consular offices and officials are urgently seeking more information from U.S. officials, and she also offered her sincere condolences. Obviously, this is a very charged issue in recent months, Roger, especially with Trump issuing those raft of executive orders to increase the number of arrests of illegal immigrants ICE makes. And so obviously that has caused also widespread protests, primarily in LA as well. So obviously many people across Canada and the United States watching this incident closely, seeing everything that has transpired in the past couple of months.
So yes, there's been an official statement of condolences, and Canadian officials say they're working to get answers. But I'm going to be that guy in the room who says what a lot of people are thinking. Did ICE go too far with Johnny? Was there mistreatment that led to this? Or was it an incident with another ICE detainee or inmate that caused it? We've seen the conditions in those detention facilities. They're brutal, not a place any human should be in. And if that's what happened, do we really think ICE would have stepped in with urgency to stop it? I doubt it. I don't have all the facts, and I'm just guessing. But when there's a long-standing reputation, I'm not going to dance around it. I'll call it for what it looks like. If you disagree, let me know in the comments. I'll own it if I've misread the situation. Now, CBC spoke with an immigration lawyer who's got a more informed take than mine. Let's take a look at what he had to say.
And joining us now to discuss this is immigration lawyer Richard Kurland. Richard, thanks so much for being with us.
A pleasure.
So we have learned that Johnny Noviello was legally residing in the U.S. What can you tell us about his deportation order and his criminal record?
The criminal record reportedly contains multiple drug convictions, placing him in President Trump's first priority for deportation. No surprise to see that he was scooped and placed in a detention center, which carries significant risk. Even in Canada, 16 people have died in Canadian immigration detention centers since the year 2000. So it's a risk on both sides of the border. Nevertheless, death shouldn't happen.
Right, and that is the big question, right? What caused this death? That cause is currently under investigation. But can you tell us a little bit about what conditions are like in these detention centers?
It's not luxury individual cells. We're talking about mass rooms where people are known to be sleeping on floors, wrapped in aluminum blankets. This is a holding center, and it's not designed like our prison system for long-term housing of just a small number of people per room. The mix is horrible. When you have people who have been criminally convicted placed alongside in detention with immigration administrative violations, that's a mix for risk. And it's no surprise to see, because it's the Canadian experience, that when you mix hardcore criminals, even literally insane people, with immigration detainees, bad things happen.
All right, maybe my third guess is the one that hits. An incident with another detainee or inmate. And let's be real, ICE has a history of disregarding basic human decency, so I doubt they were in any rush to break up a fight if one broke out, if this was the case. Whatever the case, one thing's clear, this shouldn't be happening. There's no excuse for the way this system continues to operate.
So what Canada can do is to pick up the phone, call Washington to establish special Canadian protocols so that when we have our Canadian citizens identified in a detention center, we are able to get them on a plane directly to Canada immediately. It's in the American interest, they get rid of one. It's in Canada's interest to protect our own.
On paper, that sounds like a win-win for both sides. But realistically, trying to negotiate with the White House right now feels like a lost cause.
Yeah, you in your role as an immigration lawyer, Richard, you have warned that the U.S. border can be unpredictable, especially under this administration. Those reapplying for visas or doing business in the U.S. Have concerns about this. What do Canadians, including visitors to the U.S., need to know?
Oh my goodness, be careful. Everything is fair game now, including your social media. If you clicked on a like for some association group pronouncement, demonstration, you enter the Gaza fray, you are at risk, because the American border people can find it and begin to question you.
Now, I'm a fair guy, not here for the views. If you're a subscriber and for whatever reason you have to go to the US, I ask is that you temporarily unsubscribe from my channel just in case my channel puts you at harm. And hey, once you make it past the CBP guards, feel free to hit that subscribe button again.
Where did you travel? Who are your family members? Who are your friends? What groups are you associated with? And under new guidelines on the American side, they can not just ban you from the United States in future, but you are at risk of being detained for further immigration processes. So the door is wide open, and a Canadian passport will not shield you from American detention. That's clear. As well, beware, over the next few months, if you hold a Canadian passport but were born in the wrong country, according to the United States, you're at additional risk. So our 300,000 plus Canadian Iranian population is presently at risk. Do not seek entry to the United States if you can avoid it. If you have to go south, try pre-clearance at an airport, not a land border. It's more difficult to give you a hard time while you're physically present in Canada than when you step across the line at secondary in an American immigration office. As well, don't play games. These people are highly trained, sophisticated in reading body language, and they will know if you're trying to hide something and continue probing until the Americans get what they want to get. Have a plan B. Have a plan B. If you don't show up to your destination, have family members be given a set of instructions what to do, who to contact, because if you're disappeared in an Orwellian sense, you cannot be found until significant passage of time.
This happened to Australian citizen Alistair Kitchen. He was detained the moment he stepped off the plane, held for hours, and then put on a flight back to Australia. No phone, no contact with friends or family. They even had the airline hold onto his passport and phone until he landed back home. That's 2, maybe 3 days where no one knew where he was.
And as we've noted, immigration detention carries physical risk. The last thing is clean that car. Go through your trunk, go through all components of that vehicle to remove anything that can trigger an immigration officer's inspection. You're not just talking immigration. With tariffs, they're going to be checking to see if you're trying to smuggle in things like computers, phones, anything on that tariff list, and charge you with trying to evade a tariff. That carries significant consequences. So it's everything: immigration, customs, your groups of association, your social media, total risk. Remedies, good luck with that. Costs money, time, and you're not going to be a happy camper in an immigration detention center south of this border.
This guy's definitely one of the more animated immigration lawyers out there. But he makes a point we already know. A lot of us are just going to avoid the situation entirely by not entering the US at all. Now, back to the case of Johnny. Yes, he had legal responsibilities to deal with, no question there. But the bigger issue here is ICE. And I really hope we get the full story, not some carefully packaged explanation. Canadians deserve to know the truth. And I really hope this doesn't turn into just another cover-up. But here's the reality. If you're not entering the US, you're removing yourself from this mess entirely. And for me, that's my choice. If you found this video helpful, hit that like and subscribe button. It helps push the message out to more people. And if you're still here, check out the videos popping up on your screen now. Thanks for watching. See you in the next one.